Last year, the A-League women's competition was the biggest and best it has ever been, and the 2024-25 campaign is set to be very exciting once again. Here is my ladder prediction and preview for the upcoming season. The team picking up the wooden spoon this season in the A-League women's, I've got Western Sydney Wanderers. They've been super quiet in the transfer window up to this point. Only 3 ins, just a week out from the season kicking off. They're a club who have just really struggled for consistency in the A-League women's competition. We saw last season they did come really close to finals, just missing out on goal difference behind Newcastle Jets. And there's just not enough quality, I think, in that team overall to suggest that they will really improve this season. Curious to see if they do make some last minute signings just a week out from the competition, but at the moment, I don't see Wanderers challenging towards the top this year. In regards to the 3 new signings for Wanderers, I'm interested to see how Sienna Silvestre goes returning to the club. She was at Sydney FC last year, the champions from last season, but really struggled to get game time. Returning to Western Sydney Wanderers, still just 18 years of age, a lot of potential, could be a breakout season for her. Coming in second last place, I think we will see somewhat of an improvement from last year's wooden spoon team, Adelaide United. Picked up just 4 wins last campaign, scoring 21 goals in 22 matches. It just wasn't good enough from the Reds, who had an absolute capitulation on the last day of the season as well. The signings that they have made are quite fascinating. The likes of Tiana Karambassis as well as Matilda McNamara should really strengthen the defensive areas of the pitch. And Fiona Wirtz is a great signing as well. She was at Sydney FC last season, picked up the Julie Dolan medal back in season 2021-22. Great signing for the Reds, and she'll provide a lot more attacking threat going forward, because obviously that was an area of the pitch where the Reds really struggled in last season. They have to improve in that department when it comes to goal scoring. We may see a bit more of a competitive season this year from the Reds, but I still have them finishing towards the bottom this year. Possibly a bit of a hot take here, but I've got Newcastle Jets slipping down. They were the second highest goal scorers last season. They finished 6th, but scored 43 goals, just behind Melbourne Victory, who scored 44 last season. But you look at the 2 key departures for them, Serena Bolden and Melina Ayres. I think that's a serious area of concern for Newcastle Jets. Who is going to step up and be that goal scorer for them this season? 2 fantastic players who have departed the club. So there's a lot of question marks in terms of who fills that centre forward role for the Newcastle Jets. Do they have the quality overall to back up their finals appearance from last season? I'm not sure if they have it. I think they might slip down this year, especially with those major departures at Newcastle. In 9th, I'm going for Wellington Phoenix. While I would love to see Wellington be really strong this year, contest into finals, I'm just concerned about their consistency. There's some really remarkable numbers from Wellington last season: 9 wins, 12 losses, and just the 1 draw. So they really have to sort out their consistency, especially when playing away from home. There's been a lot of reshuffling in that team as well. There's been 10 new signings, but 11 outs as well. So there's a real fresh vibe to this Wellington Phoenix side this season, which I don't mind. They're really reshuffling things, trying a fresh approach for 2024-25. But I look at the departure of Mariana Speckmeyer, who's joined rivals Melbourne City. That is a big out for Wellington Phoenix, an exciting player who always provides a creative spark going forward. That's a big departure for the Knicks. In 8th place, again, I think we'll see a slight improvement from Perth Glory this season. A team who last year had some decent players in their roster, but didn't quite manage to push up into finals. This season, some fascinating signings. Casey Dumont, who was at Central Coast Mariners last year, a very solid goalkeeping option. And I really rate the signing of Naomi Chinema, young Matilda's defender who arrives at the club to really strengthen the defensive department. Can this be the year where Perth Glory do return to finals? Potentially, maybe still just missing a little bit of quality overall in their team. And in 7th place, just missing out on finals for me, is Brisbane Roar, a team who I think actually have some fantastic players. The signing of Danelle Tan looks like a really good one as well. 19-year-old striker, has experience over in Europe, plays for the Singapore national team as well. She'll provide, something different going forward. And they do have the likes of Matilda Sean Fryer, Tamika Yallop in there as well. Good experience in that Brisbane Roar side. So there is totally a chance they do push into the top 6 this year. For me, maybe just lacking a little bit compared to those top 6 sides that I'm calling to finish towards the top this year. But Brisbane Roar, they will be as competitive as ever this season. In 6th place, I have Canberra United. I would love to see Canberra make the finals this year, especially with Michelle Heyman re-signed for the season, which is one of the biggest deals in this off-season in the A-League Women's competition. Obviously, Heyman had a fantastic season last year, winning the Golden Boot in the competition, scoring 17 goals, and obviously earning a recall to the Matildas. And she is now basically featuring as the Matildas star striker at the moment, especially in absence of Sam Kerr. Such an experienced player. And if they get her firing once again in front of goal, they will be a dangerous team. They just have to try and strengthen other areas of the park. Canberra United, curious to see how a bunch of their new signings go settling in. Obviously a big departure, Chloe Lincoln, young goalkeeper, departing the club for Western United. But Canberra United, I think they do just have enough in the end to jump up and secure a place in finals. Coming in at 5th place, I have Western United, the team who made the grand final a couple of years ago now. You might remember lost out to Sydney in the end back in 2023. They might slip down just a little bit this year, still a competitive team overall, but they have lost a few of those players from that team that made the grand final a couple of years ago. Big departure is striker Hannah Keane, who leaves the club. She was such a goal threat for them over the last couple of seasons. Chloe Lincoln, as we just mentioned, arriving from Canberra United. Chloe Lincoln receiving a Matilda's call-up for the October friendly. So a bit of a fresh look at West United this season with plenty of players departing, but I think overall they will still have enough to make finals this year. And fourth place, I've got my Central Coast Mariners. Obviously last season it was just so exciting to have the Mariners back in the A-League Women's competition after so long away, and had a really strong season overall, getting to the semi-finals, just a game away from the grand final itself. Despite some of the departures that we've had, obviously Kai Simon is a big one, Karen Bassis, which we mentioned earlier as well. I think we've done a good job to re-sign some key players, the likes of Peter Trimis and Isabel Gomez, who were fantastic last season, will be key players this upcoming campaign. And some of the signings that we made, I've been really impressed with. Jessica Nash, young Matilda's captain, arriving from Melbourne Victory. Would love to see her get a starting place in the defensive line for Mariners this season. And Taylor Ray, which I think is a really smart pickup. Taylor Ray won a couple of championships at Sydney FC recently. An exciting young midfield player who should add even more energy to Emily Husband's midfield for this season. Hopefully another strong season from the mighty Central Coast Mariners. I'm backing them to finish fourth this season. In third place, I've got last year's premiers, Melbourne City. They still have a fantastic team, but you look at the top three teams there, and they've been contesting with each other for so long now. It feels like those top three really are sort of dominating at the moment in the A-League Women's, at least for the past few years now. And Melbourne City will be up there once again. They made some exciting signings. Apostolakis from Western Sydney Wanderers is a great signing, a young defender. You look at the outs though, and there are some key players departing, the likes of Hannah Wilkinson, New Zealand striker, as well as Amina Ekic and Daniela Galich as well. So a slightly new look attack going forward for Melbourne City this season. But a lot of the players from that premiership winning season last year are still there. They will be strong once again, Melbourne City. Of course, they're not only hoping for success in the A-League Women's, but also now in the Asian Champions League as well. So big campaign coming up for Melbourne City. It's time for the final two. Coming in second place for me, just missing out on the premiership and a spot in Asia. I'm going for Sydney FC. The Sky Blues, as strong as ever in the A-League Women's competition. And hey, they could well finish top this season. Obviously, they were so disappointed to just slip down on the final round of the season after Melbourne City topped them right at the death there. But for Sydney FC, some big departures that we should acknowledge, the likes of Courtney Vine, Jada Wyman as well, Matilda's players leaving the club. You look at the forward position and they've really strengthened that department with the likes of Kaya Simon, Millie Farrow arriving from Perth Glory, and 17-year-old Amber Luchmai, who recently featured at the Under-20 Women's World Cup for Australia and looks like she has an enormous amount of potential, scoring plenty of goals at state level, set for a breakout season this year, potentially at Sydney FC. And in first place for me, winning the A-League Women's Premiership for 2024-25, of course, is Melbourne Victory, a team who are always so strong in this competition. And you look at the business from the transfer window, yes, there has been some key departures for the team, but 15 re-signings. I think that's the important thing for Melbourne Victory. They have retained so many quality players. They still have the likes of Emily Gilnick, Lydia Williams, Alex Chidiak, so much quality and depth in that Melbourne Victory team as well. And they've even gone as far as to strengthen the side, especially at the back. Claudia Bunge returned to the club. She was a part of New Zealand's 2023 Women's World Cup squad. Huge signing at the back for Melbourne Victory. They will be strong once again this season, Melbourne Victory, and I think they might just top the pack at the end. Melbourne Victory are my premiers for the 2024-25 A-League Women's season. I'm sure we're set for another thrilling A-League Women's season coming up, and hopefully we have even more clubs joining for next season as well. Are you guys excited for the A-League Women's this campaign? Let me know in the comments and feel free to drop your ladder prediction as well. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to stay subscribed for more A-League content here at Coastfoot Football. My name's Lockie. This is Coastfoot Football, and I'll see you in the next one.